Good afternoon, everybody. Just want to double check and see how many participants we've got on the call at the moment. Fantastic. I think we're going to kick off. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon at our CoCre8 and SUSE for SAP virtual event. We look forward to sharing some information with you and then to entertain you a little bit afterwards as well with Larry Soffer that's joining us today. Just as a brief welcome, I'll be taking you through a brief overview of CoCre8 and our relationship with Fujitsu and SUSE. Just briefly show you kind of what our relationship is like, where we come from. Then the main presentation for the day will be Johan from SUSE. He will take you through the SUSE for SAP topic and tell you a little bit more about that and the value that you can get from the SUSE for SAP specific product set. And then once we're done with that, we're going to hand you over to Larry to entertain you for a little bit. So I'm going to start sharing my screen and just briefly take you through a short presentation here. So for those of you that don't know CoCre8, I'm sure most of you do. We are young in name, but I think old in stature. We are essentially Fujitsu South Africa that went through a slight transformation last year, and we became a wholly owned South African company, BE Level 1. And we still look after the Fujitsu interests in South Africa. So our relationship with Fujitsu is kind of remains in place. We have still all the fantastic products and services and solutions in place, and all our partnerships and customers, still receive the same service and product sets from us as they've done in the past. With that, obviously, our long-standing relationship with SUSE, and I think that's why we're here today to show off that presentation. Sorry about that. To show you that presentation and show you what SUSE for SAP is all about. So just briefly, in terms of the South African market, you'll recognize some of these brands. I said, we do look after South Africa. It's also English-speaking Africa, so you'll see there's some African names in there maybe as well. These are all joint customers between us and SUSE, because these are all primarily SAP HANA customers. And as you know, there comes that certification from SAP where most of the customers in South Africa and the world run their HANA workloads on SUSE. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. In terms of the Fujitsu relationship, us representing Fujitsu in South Africa, Fujitsu with SAP worldwide, a long-standing, almost 50-year relationship now, 8,000 SAP customers worldwide. And I think something that we're very proud of is the SAP Pinnacle Award that we won last year for Global Technology Partner. It's not the first time that we've won that award. So, again, just we're evolving along with SAP, and we keep winning these accolades from them. So, fantastic working relationship between us, and that carries on as always. In terms of the relationship between Fujitsu and SUSE, there you can also see another 22-year relationship. And it all started when SAP R3 was launched on Linux back in 1999. So long relationship there and a long track record. The very first benchmark that was actually done was done on a Privileged server running SUSE Linux. So that very first SAP benchmark tracks all the way back to that time. Lastly, before I hand you over to Johan, we do obviously have quite a few products that we have on offer in South Africa. All of that kind of gets bundled under the PrimeFlex banner. I'm not going to go into the details, but you do know that, or you can see that it covers everything from classical SAP, small and medium-sized HANA workloads, all the way to hyper-converged and large, fully orchestrated solutions. All of those obviously running and powered by SUSE Linux. As part of that, I think that's where the topic for today comes in. The SUSE Linux Enterprise server for SAP applications, along with the Fujitsu hardware, gives you that end-to-end optimization of your investment in your SAP applications. So all works together quite nicely, bringing you the value that you would expect and that you're looking for. So that's me. I said I wouldn't keep you too long. From here, we're going to hand you over to Johan, who will take you through the SLES for SAP topic and the details from there. I'm going to just stop sharing for a second. Johan, you're welcome to introduce yourself and take it from there. Thank you.
Hi, good morning all. Good afternoon all. I hope that you have a wonderful afternoon. And thank you for joining us and in this phenomenal time of where we're actually looking at different scenarios and different solutions and working with the likes of CoCre8 and understanding exactly what we can do and how we can actually emphasize and basically make your systems more robust around your implementation of SAP. Can everybody hear me all right? Can you just go and tell me, yes, we are okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome. So hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. So today's topic is really around what SUSE solutions are for SAP. One thing that I can really say is a phenomenal thing is that we've got SUSE people sitting in Waldorf at SAP's head office, working together with the SAP folk to get a solution ready for however you want to basically implement it. If it's going to be from a high availability solution to a performance optimized solution or to a cost optimized solution. We are working very hard and long with SAP and with the likes of Fujitsu and CoCre8 to understand exactly what we can do with the systems and what we can do to make sure that the systems can run 32 terabytes of memory, to make sure that the HANA solution that you deploy is robust and 100% aligned with the business needs that you require. But first and foremost, what are we basically looking at is what is SUSE doing? And it's basically coming from a power of many. Now, if you start looking at what we're doing with our partner ecosystem with CoCre8 and Fujitsu and so forth, we're actually making sure that Linux can run on any type of platform. If it's going to be from a hardware perspective or if it's going to be from a software perspective, we're making sure and we're trying to simplify the software component running on any type of environment that you want to basically do. If it's going to be from artificial intelligence up to the SAP HANA components itself. But today's topic is really going to be how we basically bring all of these components of power of many into the fore to make sure that SAP HANA can work on the hardware of Fujitsu and so forth to make sure that it's a robust solution. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to basically work around what we can do from an automated installation process, from SAP notes, everything like that. So if you're going to start looking at your SAP landscape and how you're going to basically move your SAP landscape into the future components of what we can do with SLES and with a hardware like Fujitsu, it really brings us the component of making sure that when we deploy the solution, that it's robust in such a way that everything is available for you at any given time and point. And also, when you start looking at how we're going to bring out containerization and how containerization can be running on a physical piece of tin and around how you can do scalability around that. But first and foremost is what do you get from a SLES for SAP component? It really gives you a lot of functionality and a bunch of flexibility around that. So if you look at the base operating system, we give you SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, plus we give you 24/7 priority support. Okay, and extended service of overlap support, which gives us 18 months period of where you can basically upgrade your operating system. But I want to touch on the 24/7 support. If you buy the SLES for SAP capability from SUSE, you get support from CoCre8 and Fujitsu and from SAP. So it's a trifold component where you can actually log your support at any given time if you've got any type of problem. And that is why this solution works so well for any organization who wants to basically deploy their SAP on SUSE Linux. And then we've also got a SAP specific update channel where if you update the operating system, the application stack is not broken, or the operating system doesn't want to basically patch the system. It'll basically go from the operating system right into the application stack if you're going to start looking at your patching cycle and your upgrading patching cycle itself. Then we've got certain things from the blue component. One thing I did forget to mention is that the green blocks is specifically around SUSE and the blue blocks specifically around SAP. But all of these components are built and cohesively built between SAP and SUSE. So when you start looking at the performance and optimizing of tuning, there's components where you can run SAP tune to make sure that the machines are built in such an operating system benchmark that you've got high standards of performance on the machines. We actually have different infrastructure monitoring capabilities. If you want to tie those components back into Prometheus and Grafana, we have the capability to make sure that the application and the database can be monitored in real time. Then monitoring exporter is what you want to basically export from a dashboard point of view of understanding how your IO is happening, what's happening on your memory, what's happening on your disk performance. We can actually give you all those graphs to understand what's actually going on with your environment. Then we've got cluster visualization transitioning, where we can go into a thing called Hawk, and we can actually see how the SAP systems can be moved before it actually being moved. So it actually gives me a visual representation of if anything would happen in my environment, that I can simulate it before it actually can do the failure of simulate a failure if something would happen on your system. So you can actually go and say, okay, I want to simulate this failure from one database to another. And that will basically simulate the scenario without actually taking the system down. And then you can decide if everything is working, or it's basically giving information back to say, yes, it's something's wrong. My SAN storage is not quick enough or anything like that. And then we can basically help you to give you a transition into Linux support. Understanding the cohesion between all the organizations give you the capability to understand exactly what you can do from a Linux perspective. Even if you're new in the environment, we can actually help you transition into the Linux support environments. Then you can basically use it from a hybrid cloud environment deployment, your server installation wizard, because I know that I've spoken to Sean a couple of times, and he says it's so easy. Even people with no technical skill can basically build a HANA solution. And it's so simple to basically pop the disk in, click on the installation wizard, and just install it. He said to me that everything is so smooth of basically getting a HANA or ERP system running within the environment. And then there's different cloud platforms, but we're not going to humper onto those components too often now. But if you guys want to know about more of it, let's have a different discussion. But there is public cloud images if you want to basically deploy those components. Then there's a SUSE package hub application stack out there where the community goes in and basically puts certain applications in there. You guys can take a browser and go and look for SUSE package hub, and you can go and surf and look at different components of what we actually bring from a community perspective into the package hub application stack. Then you've got high availability extension. I'm going to drill down into a little bit of those components a little bit further on. And then we've got the SAP HA resource agents, where those components, the resource agents, are specifically built between SAP and SUSE to make sure that if a HANA system goes down, that Hawk or the HA capability will move the resources for you at any given time. The SAP HANA firewall allows me to basically make sure that everything is secured in the environment, that nobody can go and attack the system, that the ports that's normally open can be closed. And then also the ports that needs to be open can be filtered so that your system is 100% secured. Then there's remote storage encryption, so that what happens is you can actually have a key, and then once the system boots up, it goes and grabs the key from a remote storage system, and then it actually can mount it. That's pretty cool, especially when you start looking at security capabilities. Then you've got workload memory protection to understand exactly what's been written into memory can be protected at any given time. And then there's persistent memory support, where we actually look at how you can basically use different types of memory of actually saying, you know what, if I'm writing into new types of disk storage or memory persistent components, that it's supported for your environment. Now, what I want to basically talk to you about now is once you've built these capabilities, what are we doing around patching and deployments? And this is a quite cool, nice feature, is by we've got multiple ways that you can actually decide to basically build your infrastructures, okay? And as you can see, SUSE is really an open source company because we don't basically dictate to you that you have to use something. We are very open that you can use different types of methods to deploy your solutions. If you want to use YAST, you can use YAST. If you want to basically deploy HANA with a different type of cluster solution within the environment, you can do that. Especially when you start looking at how SUSE HA is the capability around that, it makes it much easier for you to basically deploy it and simpler to basically build out the cluster environment. And then you can basically customize the components with Salt or Terraform. It's really up to you how you want to basically spin up and deploy your environment. And then we can basically tailor on-prem and cloud instances for you at any given moment in time. So if you want to use Ansible to deploy it on SUSE, that's fine. We can do that as well. So we can have a plethora of systems to basically make sure that you are happy with whatever method you want to deploy your SLES for SAP installations. And then one thing I want to basically just drill down into is how SUSE Manager can actually help you. Because once you look at the patching cycle and things like that, and I'm talking to a lot of clients every given day or week, to basically say if they've got 10 systems, there's nothing wrong to basically go and do a zipper patch, a zipper up, or anything like that. The problem is that if you're going to do it for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 systems, okay, then the patching can get quite involved. Now, what we are looking at is bringing the patching. So if you're taking your environment and you build it, let's say with Terraform, now you're going to basically need to patch that systems for at any given time, maybe once a month, once a quarter, maybe once a year, and you decide to basically patch your systems, it is very important to give you an overall view of what the systems are doing. Now, why I'm saying that is because if you look at your systems and you need to roll back your patches or you need to deploy your patches at any given time, or you need to make sure that your audit compliancy team is 100% aligned with your patching cycle, that you can give them a dashboard that you can log on to make sure that the patches and the updates are 100% aligned with your security audit findings. And that is a very, very key component why I'm talking to certain clients to get SUSE Manager in the environment. Then there's a very cool thing around what we are doing with the patch cycle with live kernel patching. Now, this is a very nice thing, and I've just been on a call with a client where it actually takes, let's call it about 10 minutes to boot a system because it's got 1 terabyte of memory. Now, some of these systems are quite big and it takes a bit of time to basically boot them up because some of the clients has got 32 terabytes of memory into the machines. And now you can think about how long it actually takes to reboot a system if you do a kernel patch. Now, what we've brought into the equation is live kernel patching. Live kernel patching gives you the capability to have a 1-year cycle to reboot your systems. Now, if you take in consideration with high availability and live kernel patching, then effectively you can get to reach, let's say, your 5 nines of availability. Because I'm going to touch now, just now, onto why we basically build out SUSE Linux high availability, co-injunction with the live kernel patching. If you can decide on when you want to basically reboot your systems once a year, then you can move your resources with live kernel patching. So you patch your systems once a year. Once a year, you have to reboot your systems. Now, when you decide to basically do, let's say, a 5-node HA cluster and you want to reboot your systems, you can actually go with your HA capability and move your resources to other nodes. Once you move your resources to the other nodes, then you switch the machine off that has got nothing running on it. And then the other 4 nodes can basically run the resources for you at any given time. So that gives you the capability. So if anything goes wrong with a disk or memory or anything like that, your availability of the system is there for HA, and your patching with no reboots for a year is available for live kernel patching. an availability of everything that we can basically do for you, from a patching cycle up to an update cycle. I just want to give you a quick view of what that means. So a call function come in. So if you look at from the chart from the left-hand side, a call function come in, and the call function will go and it says, okay, I can do an ftrace, and I go into CoCre8. It needs to basically do a certain patch cycle. Once the CoCre8 has basically done the patch, then it basically gives it back to ftrace, and it basically calls another loop on the call function, okay, on return. So the patching on the system is in real time real. So it's nothing that we are basically doing differently than basically just calling another function within the kernel to make sure that the patching is 100% aligned to what the vulnerability is. Now, when you start looking at secure infrastructure and the complexity, because sometimes, you know what, things are really getting complex, especially when you start looking at security, you're looking at patching, you're looking at how you can basically bring your system up into availability. But we are very, very, very concerned about security. And this is where we need to make sure that we are 100% aligned with our EAL certification, or the FIPS certification. So as you can see with the chart, we are very, very clean to make sure that whatever you decide to basically deploy is compliant with FIPS or with EAL4. Now you can see that we actually have FIPS with SLE 15 GA, and we've got SLE 15 Support Pack 2 completed with EAL4. Because a lot of companies, especially when they want to look at security compliance and things like that, that is a very key component for them to make sure that we are aligned with those components. As you can see, we are aligned with FSTech, USG V4, V6, and GIS. So you are rest assured that we are compliant with our SUSE Linux Enterprise server to, if you deploy it, that is secure. But that doesn't stop there. It's really understanding how do we identify the complexities around the environment and the key components about having your infrastructure available at all the time. But some of the components is really understanding what we can do with the system. And also, yes, it's nice to basically have the capability to patch the system and have a view of the patching. But what about understanding, what about the dashboards? What's happening in my system? Or what is happening in the environment? Are you concerned about the disk IO? Are we worried about, let's say, something's happening on the network interface card? Or let's say something is going wrong on HANA, or something is going on with HANA itself. What we are looking at in this chart is that we can use Prometheus and Grafana to give you a dashboard. The dashboard can give me preemptive information of if anything goes wrong in the environment. So you can look at the dashboard. If you can see that the disk IO is spiking or anything like that, then you can make a call around what HA should be doing. Now, if you can see that the machine is basically getting a very high percentage of weight or anything like that, then you can put an algorithm together of saying, you know what, if a system happens to hit, let's say, 4 or 5% of IO weight, then I can tell HA to move those resources off of that node and put it somewhere else. And that's going to give me the preemptive component or proactive component to see what's happening in my system, that the system can work for me and I not for the system. And that gives me the capability to monitor my clusters, my HANA databases, everything like that, and export it to a nice dashboard that I can have a RESTful component of looking at a screen to make sure that everything is working aligned with whatever I'm doing in the business. Now, just want to drill down into some of the components of why we are looking at those components is to see, why do we build a firewall? I've seen so many companies just go basically switch off firewalls and things like that, and then you can see that people create backdoors and so forth. And that's why we configure the firewall for SAP HANA, to make sure that SAP HANA, the database and SUSE Linux is secure from an installation process right up to the deployment. And that gives me also, including the configuration of auto deployment of the firewalls that I want to deploy in my environment. So if you build a 5-node cluster or a 3-node cluster, you have these capabilities on the installation to build out the mechanized processes to make sure that you do not expose the system unfairly anybody that it's basically exposed to attacks. Now we can also do, let's say, remote storage capabilities. Of understanding, maybe you're worried about somebody basically grabs hold of your data because maybe somebody has got a big drive and they copy the data onto another drive, and how do you encrypt that data? What we are doing, we do a remote data encryption, whereby the system itself doesn't hold the keys. Basically, we've got an offset server that holds the keys. So as soon as your HANA database starts up, it goes and grabs the keys from a remote database, and then it only mounts the volumes. So if somebody goes and grabs the data or the disk type of volumes, they cannot use it. So the data on the volumes are 100% secured because they cannot encrypt it if they do not have the key. And that you can do it on thousands of servers, or you can basically use it for third-party KIM controllers to make sure that you have a key controller to make sure that you basically do not expose your data to anybody who wants to go and steal it. And then what we can do is from a performance optimized solution is we can basically use two things. We can use SAPconf or you can use SAPtune. SAPconf is the older version for SLES 12, and then SAPtune is the newer one for SLES 15. Now, these are the components that's built from SAP to SUSE, so that when you run it, it actually builds it into a specific way that you know that it's built in a specific optimized solution, and it's based on implements from SAP notes. And you can also look at specific configuration types from SAP. And also, if you look at Fujitsu with the IHV and the cloud platforms, we have got specific SAP notes for specific hardware vendors out there. So if you are concerned about performance and things like that, SAPtune can really help you a lot to basically run it to make sure that the system is operational in a specific key differentiation availability in your environment. Now we're talking about availability, and I briefly touched on that when we spoke about live kernel patching and those type of things. But really, what I want to see is how do we achieve the beautiful 5 nines? And 5 nines is really, if you look at a system, have the downtime of, let's call it 5 to 10 minutes a year. Now, how do we do that? How do we increase the uptime and security around that? So what we're doing is we're looking at high availability clusters. If the clusters are physical, virtual, or anything like that, and it's also certified to basically run SAP NetWeaver or HANA capabilities. And also, when you start looking at how you have to restart your databases and things like that, that actually alleviates all those pressures for you. And when you start looking at how do you automate your SAP HANA failovers, we have a beautiful scenario where we can actually do it with Hawk. We build out the environment, and Hawk will basically look at how the systems are defined and where they should fail over if anything goes wrong. And also we've got persistent memory technologies built into it that we can offset those capabilities with, let's say, new hardware coming in from Fujitsu, and they want to basically use different memory capabilities in there. The kernel has those capabilities to make sure that it's working 100%. And also in alignment with that, how can we basically use live kernel patching, especially when I'm saying that you can start looking at high availability, live kernel patching, and how we can basically reduce your time to failure. And then how does it all come to play? So I've spoken to a lot of companies, and they want to understand, how do we do HADR? Okay, but do we really need HADR? I don't know. It's a question that we can basically have a discussion just now. And what we have is we've got an intuitive graphical user interface. As I said with Sean, basically we've got an installation wizard. We click through the process and we just continue with the installation, and it's easy to use, easy to basically install and configure, and boom, there you go. You've got a SAP HANA database. We've got a pre-production failover testing where we can actually click on a button and we can test the failure. If something would go wrong, does it work? And Hawk will basically tell you, yes, it basically failed over to this node, without bringing the production environment into disaster. As you can see, SAP certified for NetWeaver clusters. All of these components, what I'm going to show you, is certified to make sure that it runs in your environment in a secure fashion. And then on-premise and cloud deployments, that's of course a no-brainer. But let's just look at what we have. What we have is we've got a performance optimized scale up scenario. When you start looking at the performance upscale scenario, we can actually have pacemaker, or let's call it SUSE HA, running between the two nodes. Then we've got system replication running between the two nodes, and you've got two production environments on database. Now those should be replicated as Oracle, not Oracle, but a cluster file system. So we use OCFS2 as a Oracle file system within the open source community, and you can use GPFS and those type of things on the systems as well. So as you can see, the two nodes will basically run in parallel, and then parallel will basically define how HANA will basically run onto the SAN storage itself to make sure that the replication is working 100%. So the two nodes will basically do a lockstep mechanism with the cluster file system on the back end to make sure that it's working 100%. If you look at a cost optimized solution, now this is where things becomes interesting, because now you can take node 1 and you can have that as your production environment. Node 2 can have your quality or your assurance or anything like that, plus production running on the other node. Now, the cool thing about this is, let's say production goes down, you will basically shut down QA and you'll bring production up. That gives them the capability to have much more reliability around different types of hardware stacks that I want to basically deploy. And then I can use different types of database to do certain components for the environment. Now, if you look at a multi-target scale-up scenario, this brings me 3 nodes into the scenario of understanding that I can have 3 nodes doing simultaneous work, and also with my cluster file system running on the back end. And then I can have my primary and my secondary node to basically do certain work. And then I can basically have my third node as a DR site if you choose to, if you've got enough availability around there. And then we've got performance optimized scale out scenario. So depending on what you want to do and how big you want to go with your SAP HANA deployments, we can actually have multiple machines doing multiple work. As you can see there, that site A and site B can actually work independently or together. And then within this environment, you can actually do failover from one side to the other side. Plus, if you basically include your live kernel patching, then really you come to a point that you don't really need to have any disaster at all. And then if you really drill down into the multiple scale out, you can see that we can actually really do a lot of components. If you've got a primary site and you can do asynchronous solution around that, that is the key component where you can do your, let's say, your disaster recovery onto another site. So you can actually have your primary site running 100% aligned. Your site A, or let's say machines A goes down, it'll take over to B. And then if B goes down or the whole site goes down, then we can fall over to C. And we've got capabilities around that, but I didn't include this into the solution that I'm talking about, is that we've got geo-clustering. Geo-clustering gives me the capability to cluster clusters. So if you've got a geolocation around, let's say you've got a cluster in Johannesburg and you've got a cluster in, let's say, Canada, you can actually, with geolocation, have an offset of a third node, let's say in Kenya, and then that can give me the geo clustering, that if a whole continent basically falls down into the ocean, that your other site will basically take over. And those are all the capability we've got within SUSE. But what also important is the life cycle. Now, this is also why people look at SUSE Linux Enterprise for SAP, is that the life cycle gives it the capability of 13 years. But the 13 years is SUSE Linux Enterprise 15, for example. So if you look at the availability, then you look at you've got let's say a 5-year process with SPOS involved, and that's your extended support. And SPOS comes with SUSE and SAP to make sure that if you run GA, you can run it for close to about 4.5 years. And this is giving me the capability, if you want to basically buy more capability from, let's say, you want to keep in, let's say, Sleep 15 SP4, you can purchase additional support for LTSS if you choose to. Now that LTSS means long-term service support. If you want to keep a specific service pack in production, you can get longer support for that. Now, just a quick way of doing certain things, what we have, different cloud providers we have. We've got, we work very closely with AWS, we work very closely with Alibaba, we work very closely with Azure, IBM Cloud, and also Google Compute. And now from there, you can actually see that these capabilities are running 100% with AWS. And we also have automated deployments. So if you start looking at auto deployments running your kit on, let's say, Fujitsu hardware, you can scale it out if your robustness is available into AWS and things like that. You can really build out your capabilities around that. I've actually had clients that basically had Fujitsu hardware and they basically used AWS as well, or Azure and so forth, to make sure that they can actually do failover scenarios or failover testing if the choices are there. I've actually had clients doing certain testing if they've got a VM and they've got physical hardware, maybe from a cost optimized solution, to do those capabilities to understand how they can coexist with hardware and with virtual machines. Yeah, you can basically see that you can run in Azure VMs to about up to 16 terabytes of memory, and you can actually have a custom TDI solution with up to 60 terabytes of memory. And if you start looking at what we are working with them, it's very cool and it's very optimized for those solutions. And also one thing that we want to basically do is looking at cloud, Google Cloud is what we're basically looking at: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and we're working very closely with the likes of Fujitsu and Google to get these operational components alive and kicking in whatever scenario they want to basically run it in. Now, why am I talking about containers in SAP HANA and big machines and things like that? Because everybody is moving over to containers. And what I've noticed is SAP is really pushing the envelope on containers, and especially when you start looking at how we can deploy SAP with data intelligence and Kubernetes. And then also, how do you basically distribute those components, understanding how to monitor the life of these components, and also how do they basically tie Kubernetes in with Rancher. Now, this is very cool because if you start looking at what SAP is doing and you start looking at running containers on Fujitsu kit, how do you work on those capabilities? We are very proud to say that we can run it on virtual machine infrastructure or physical machine infrastructure, and we can actually do faster deployments on, let's say, a Helm chart capability from a CNCF certified platform. Now, the Cloud Native Compute Foundation works very closely with Rancher so that whatever distribution of Kubernetes you're running, we can monitor and manage it. And the key with this is that it wants to basically simplify Kubernetes administration, fast application deployment, and also no vendor lock-in. That is the key differentiation, what we want to basically bring to the fore. And also what we are doing is that if you're going to deploy, let's say, an Ubuntu Kubernetes platform or anything like that, we are happy to basically bring it into Rancher to make sure that we can actually manage it and deploy it and make sure that the criteria is certified and vetted. Now, what do we do with Kubernetes? With the likes of Kubernetes is that we can actually build out multi-cluster capabilities. And then I know that SAP is pushing quite heavily on getting HANA into Kubernetes, and we can do multi-infrastructure management, workload scheduling, load balancing, especially when you start looking at F5 or internal load balancing around what you can do with Rancher, that you can actually expose different capabilities around how you want to monitor or manage your pods to have let's say your F5 load balancers to talk into the internal substructure of how Kubernetes and Rancher works. And also the nice thing about what you can do with Rancher, it's got a capability of scaling up. So if you're going to basically deploy, let's say 20 physical machines, and you say, for just to give me X amount of memory and things like that, you only pay per node. And then you can actually scale out and scale up how many pods you want to basically deploy onto the cluster. And then also you can have multi infrastructure management. You can do let's say multi-cluster management. If you want to basically scale that out to AWS and Azure, you can do that. And then also we've got persistent volumes with Longhorn, where if you start looking at Longhorn, it gives you the capability to do block storage across the pods or the worker nodes. And the pods will basically distribute that storage alongside all the other capabilities. Now, the nice thing about that is that you don't need to basically have NAS storage or SAN storage, because what we'll do is we'll use the internal storage of the system that you have available. And then last and what I basically want to change and say why SUSE Linux for SAP applications. This is why. Because if you look at normal SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, yes, it's validated to run SAP HANA and SAP NetWeaver and so forth. However, you've got 1.5 years of general support, standard priority support, and remote disk encryption. That's what you've got with normal SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. If you look at the SUSE Linux Enterprise for SAP application, you get so much more. You can basically escalate with your support components, and you can basically do specific tooling around that. And this is the main reason why we are looking at what the differences are between SUSE Linux Enterprise Server and other distributions out there, and what you get for SLES for SAP. And that is me. Is there any questions or anything that you guys want to discuss?
Don't see anything in the chat. Anybody's got any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or to Johan. Johan, thanks for that. I think great information as always, and I liked that last slide, especially the part that the SLES for SAP version that supports persistent memory, which I think is top of mind for a lot of people at the moment. So that's fantastic.
Yes, and one thing I can really say is a lot of customers cannot upgrade their SAP landscape every year or anything like that. And that's the beauty of why we actually have SPOS and LTSS around those capabilities, to make sure that they have enough time to upgrade their systems if they need to, because these systems can't just be upgraded. It's a massive undertaking to get these things operational, and this is why we actually bring this to the client, so that they've got availability, LTSS support. We're really thinking about how we can actually help the clients, and also with the co-help of Fujitsu and the likes of what we are doing around that, is how we actually making sure that the clients are very happy with the support we have with all three vendors, SAP, SUSE, and Fujitsu. Great,
thanks. So yeah, I see in the chat, I think we're going to stop hana-hanaing about the benefits. We've solved
I can do hana-hana.
Great, thanks, Johan. For those of you that don't know, we've actually got another event running next week. Johan will, I think Johan, you're also presenting next week, and that will be around SUSE Manager specific. So it won't be the same topic. We'll be covering SUSE Manager, but Larry will then also be entertaining us again, doing a different show than what he will be doing today. So thanks, Johan. Appreciate it. From here, I think we can jump over to our guest. Larry Soffer is South Africa's top mentalist and entertains and inspires audiences around the world. His act includes incredible feats of metal bending, mind reading, thought predictions, and telekinesis demonstrations. And I can tell you that we did a dry run last week, and he really blew my mind. and I'm sure he's going to do the same for you today. Larry has performed for celebrities like Jay-Z and Beyonce, Mike Rutherford from Michael Mechanics, Annie McDowell, as well as royalties like Prince Harry, and 10 times for the Prince of Saudi Arabia. Larry is also the youngest South African to perform at the world famous Magic Castle, and he's the only South African to be awarded a membership. So thank you very much. I'm going to hand you over to Larry. Enjoy, and thank you guys. We'll close after we're done.
Is that Prince Harry?
Oh my word!
This will be unbelievable. So you ready for this?
Yeah.
Big bang. You see it?
Oh my god!
Stop, that was an F.
Nice, yo, that's crazy, dude. Whoa.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. Yes, my name is Larry Soffer and I'm a mentalist. I read minds, I predict the future, I bend metal, I do weird and wonderful things that you guys are going to get to experience some of right here, right now. So we're going to have a lot of fun. To get started, I think it's really important that we get started with a little bit of a warm-up, just to get you all into the swing of things. So we're going to get some people up onto the stage over here. So you can imagine that this is the stage area, and you can imagine as attendees, you're out in the audience right now. So everybody that wants to partake in the show, please put up your hand and we'll bring you up onto stage. So I see we've got a few participants wanting to participate there. They're raising their hands. We're going to bring them up onto the stage right now. When you are brought up onto the stage, please switch on your camera and switch on your mic. And then that way you can see me and I can see you, and we can interact with each other. Great. Hi, Magda. How are you doing? Oh, if you could unmute yourself, please, Magda.
Fine, and you?
Great, great. So Magda, we're going to have a lot of fun here today. Like I said, we're going to get started with a little bit of a warm-up. Anybody else that was brought up onto the stage area here, to the attendees, or at least the panelist area, please switch on your camera like Bruce and Magda. And I want you to raise your right hand like this. We're going to do a little bit of a warm-up with everybody right now. So whether you're on the screen right now or whether you're at home and your camera's off, I want you to partake with this. So everybody raise your right hand and take your index finger and your thumb and place it together. Great. And then take that circle and place it on your chin.
Chin.
This is your chin, guys. Exactly. You thought initially that this was your chin. That just shows me how easily you're going to be able to be influenced here today. So actually, we're going to get started with Bruce over here. So Bruce, do you believe that it's possible to influence people's minds?
Yes.
You do? Okay, great. Because right now we're going to play a little game of influence, and I'm actually going to influence your mind to think of a particular playing card. And I believe in my ability so much so that if I get this wrong, I'm going to teach you how to do this effect.
Woohoo.
Does that sound cool?
Go for it.
Okay, great. Great. So that particular playing card is upside down in this pack over here, Bruce. There's one card that's upside down. That's the card that I'm going to influence you to think of. So your first choice is the color. Don't say anything out loud. Obviously, there's red and black cards, and in both red and black, there's two suits: hearts and diamonds in the reds, clubs and spades in the black. So make up your mind on a color right now. Don't tell me what it is. Just tell me when you've made your choice.
Got it.
Great. Bruce, immediately when I look at you, I'm getting that you've gone for the wrong color. Can you just change to the opposite color and tell everybody what that color is?
The opposite color is black.
Black. So you initially went for red, yes?
I did.
And I was able to read your mind and coax you into changing to black. Other than that, this seems pretty fair.
Suppose, go for it, yeah.
Okay, cool. So now that you've got the black cards, most people in your position would go for a club. And the club, by the way, is the black flower. The spade is the black upside down heart. So most people in your position would go for the club. But maybe I'm only telling you that to influence you to change to the spade. Or maybe I'm giving you this whole scenario, Bruce, to try and get your mind to trick me and stay with the club instead. So you tell me, what are you going to go for, clubs or spades?
Clubs.
Clubs. Interesting. So imagine I spread out all the clubs out across the table. You see number cards and you see picture cards. Whichever you choose, Bruce, those are the ones that we'll use.
Numbers.
Numbers. Okay, cool. So imagine I'm pushing out one number card. One number card stands out in your mind right now. Which one is that, Bruce?
That would be telling.
You can tell me. The
7.
packs that they're right in full view the entire time.
7.
7. 7 of clubs. So you said 7 of clubs. You felt like that was a free choice, yes?
Yeah, okay.
Would you say yes?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Because this pack has been sitting here the entire time in full view with the number 20 on it, Bruce. And that's because I placed one card upside down at position number 20. Bruce,
And it's going to be the 7 of clubs, you're saying, right? Let's have a squiz.
Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This is number 19, Bruce. The next one down is number 20. You could have chosen any color, any suit, any number, but you chose the
7 of clubs.
1920.
Freakazoid. Okay, well done.
Thank you. That's great. So Bruce, I know that was fun and that was amazing. And some people on the call, they're going, wow, that was pretty amazing. But somehow, with sleight of hand, Larry must have turned that card upside down and placed it in exactly position number 20 without us ever seeing, right?
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
That's what you were thinking? Now, Bruce, I don't want you to give me credit for the wrong thing here. And I really did influence you to think of the 7 of clubs. And to prove that, I made it the only blue back card.
Aye, check at that, eh?
And not only that, Bruce, but I was so confident in my ability. I was so confident in my ability to get you to think of the 7 of clubs that I didn't even bother to bring the other cards.
Aye. Come on.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Come on.
Bruce.
Mind blown.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Now, I know it's extremely difficult to applaud during these times because it kind of feels awkward. It feels like we're clapping alone in our own home. We feel like we have to give a light clap because it may interfere with the sound or something like that, right? So I want to show you what I call the virtual round of applause. So it makes it nice and fun and easy for you guys as well. So everybody raise your hands like this. And whether you see yourself on the screen right now or not, if your camera's on or off, I want you to do this with me. So everybody raise your hands and shimmy your hands back and forth like this. And that's what I call the virtual round of applause. And that's how we show some love during this time. So what you're going to do when you want to show some love?
The royal wave.
Amazing. A little bit faster than the royal way, right? Okay, great. Thank you very much, Bruce. So everybody give Bruce a huge round of applause. Excellent. You were great, Bruce. Thank you so much. So let's take this a little bit further with Magda. And Magda and Mac, while you're on the screen here with me, you can unmute yourselves. And anybody else that would like to come up and give us a hand, please put up your hands. We'll bring you over into the panelists, and then you can switch on your screen and we'll put you onto the stage, all right? So Magda, do you have your cell phone with you?
I do.
Okay, great. We're going to use that in just a moment, or maybe we'll use somebody else's. But I want you guys to play a little game against each other over here. So let's just bring out this game, because I've got a game of noughts and crosses. Have you and Mac played noughts and crosses before?
I definitely have.
Okay, cool. And Mac, you know the game noughts and crosses, yes? Great. So Mac, you can keep yourself unmuted. That's totally cool. Are you able to do that, Mac? Just keep yourself unmuted there, because, yeah.
There we go.
Are you able to do that, Mac?
Yep.
There we go. Great. So, Mac, you and Magda are going to play a game of noughts and crosses here together. And I've got that game set up right here. And I actually believe that I know exactly the outcome of the game. And I've put the outcome of the game on the other side of that card over here. And if this works out, this means that we're all connected. And I do believe that we're all energetically connected here. So let's see if we can make this work. So Magda, seeing that you're the lady, you get to make your first choice. So you're going to be the cross or the noughts?
I'll be the cross.
The cross. Okay, great. So where are you going to put your first cross?
Left top.
So that's over here? So over here?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, because your left and my left is switched around, so it's a little bit back to front for me, but we're going to make this work. So Mac, tell me, which one is where you're going to put your first nought?
Just below the, well, I guess above the X, on the next to the X in the far side. I guess that'd be middle there.
Over here or over here?
The first one. At the
this one over
that
here?
one, yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Okay,
How would you
cool.
describe
So you
that? Is that middle left or is that middle right?
Yeah, that's perfect. Middle left is perfect. So Magda, where are you going to put your next cross?
At the right top.
The right top, just over here,
Yeah.
yes?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Is that correct for you?
That is correct.
Okay, great. And tell me, Mac, where's your next nought going to go?
In the middle.
In the middle.
Of the top. So yeah.
Of the top. Oh, I see.
I
Magda
know,
was
I
about
almost
to
got
beat
you.
Mac.
Well, it's not gonna make much difference. Once Magda puts the next X in, I've lost either way.
Oh, I see. Mac knows the game here. Sure. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's see, Magda. Let's see if you know the game as well. Where's your next X gonna go?
Middle.
In the middle. I think Mac, she doesn't know the game as you would know the game, because I know that move that you're talking about as well, where she would get like double bind you, right? So where's your next nought gonna go?
It still won't matter, but you can put it right there.
Over here?
Yeah, middle right. Yeah, it's not
Oh,
gonna
wait
matter
a minute,
because
she did double bind you.
yeah,
I didn't know that move before, actually. Wow.
Anywhere was gonna be taken
A
out.
double
there.
bind,
Yeah.
eh?
That's very nicely
Let's
done.
see. Magda, let's see. Where are you going to put your next X?
Well, Mac, you can decide where I should put it.
Go ahead, Magda. You tell me.
You can put it at the left at the bottom.
Left at the bottom, so that's over here.
Yes. Yeah, that's
And
great.
you won,
This-
clearly won. I've actually never seen a game like that before, where you actually had 3 ways of winning, I think it looked like there. So, Mac, where's your next nought going to go? We're going to complete the game regardless.
Okay, sure. In that case, the right in the middle at the bottom.
Oh, you don't want to feel like you almost beat her here? You want to go over here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's your choice. And Magda, obviously your last X goes over here. So
Yeah.
you guys played this game. This was your own choice. Would you agree?
Yes.
I didn't influence you in any way at all?
No.
Well, I don't know if you didn't influence us, but you certainly didn't obviously influence us.
Didn't obviously influence you, right? And this card has been sitting here the entire time in full view. I told you that I predicted the outcome before we even started with an X
Oh, wow.
naught X, naught X naught, X naught X.
Impressive. Very, very impressive.
Thank you very, very much. Now, thank you. Now, I know this seems like, oh, well, it's the kind of thing that Larry can do, right? But you guys actually did this. I told you that the only way that this was possible is because we're all connected here today. And let me show you what I mean by us being all connected. You played the entire game yourself. Even Mac, I said, you don't want to kind of try and pretend to beat Magda and move your nought over here instead, but you decided to stay here. You could have put those noughts and X's anywhere you wanted. But I told you that we are all connected for a very good reason here today. We are all connected because of CoCre8
Oh, wow.
and SUSE. And as you can see, with companies like these, anything is
Brilliant.
possible. Thank you very much, everybody, Mac and Magda. Thank you.
Impressive. Thank you.
Thanks. You're welcome. You're welcome. So I don't know if we don't have somebody else. I know Stephen experienced this the other day with me. If we don't have anybody else that we can actually use right now, we can still use Magda for this with the cell phone. In fact, we can try Stephen with this one, because Stephen, I didn't do this with you the other day. Do you have your cell phone with you as well, Stephen?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. And then we'll go over to Magda next again, unless we have somebody else as well. So let me just clear this up over here. While I'm clearing this all up, Stephen, do you have somebody who you can call, like a friend or family member? Somebody
I
who's
haven't
not
paid them enough yet, so yeah, I'll find somebody.
Do you have somebody, any friend or family member, somebody who's not here on the call with us today?
Yeah, I do.
Obviously somebody who's alive, yes? Okay. Otherwise that wouldn't work so well. So Stephen, you have somebody like a friend or family member, and tell me, don't tell me the person's name. Do not tell me the person's name, but tell me, is this person a male or female that you're going to call?
Female.
A female. And there's no way I could know who this female is, right?
Nope. Not unless you've done a lot of research.
Okay, good. And I just want everybody to know this. There's no way that I could know anything that's about to happen right now, because we haven't prearranged anything at all. We haven't spoken about this. This is purely coincidental that you're actually helping me out right now, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. So just look at me. Interesting. Okay, cool. I'm going to have a look into the future, and I'm going to try and perceive a number between 1 and 100 that your female friend, is it a female friend or family member?
Family member.
Family member. So I'm going to try and look into the future and perceive a number between 1 and 100 that your family member will choose before you even call her here today. Sound pretty cool?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Here we go. I've got something, Stephen. I believe that this is the number that your female family member will say in just a moment. And I've got a long message here for you. And I'm going to leave my marker just over here on the table. I'm going to be very fair about this. I'm going to leave this just over here in full view for you to see. You can see that nice and clearly.
Yeah, right.
And just so everybody knows, this is really like a full stage over here. There's nothing there. You can see nobody's going to reach beyond or do anything funny. I'm going to leave the board there in full view. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Happy with that? Okay, great.
Happy with that.
So Stephen, and you can see there's nothing underneath. This is really just a table, and I can see I'm making it as clear and as clear for you all to see that there's no trickery going on over here, because what's about to happen is crazy, Stephen. I want you to give your female family member a call. And just by the way, you haven't told me her name. You can tell me her name for the first time right now. I've committed to my thought on what number she's going to choose.
Jamie.
Jamie. And is Jamie your daughter or?
Yeah, my
wife?
daughter.
It sounded like a daughter's name, yes. Great. So I want you to go ahead and give her a call and ask her to choose any number that she would like between 1 and 100.
Okay. Let's hope she answers. It's only her father.
Yes, let's hope. I'm sure she will.
As I put it on speakerphone.
If you can. If you can.
I'll have to warn her first.
Okay. Hopefully she answers.
Hopefully. Maybe not.
You have reached the mailbox of.
Should we try one more time for good luck?
Yeah, I'll try again.
Let's try one more time for good luck, and you can keep it on speakerphone.
Okay, that wasn't the right person to phone then. Nah.
That's okay. That's
obviously
okay.
doesn't want to talk to me.
Do you have somebody else who you can call?
Yeah, I'll try my wife.
Okay, cool. Let me just change something. Just look at me. Look at me. Okay. 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 I'm going to leave this over here. Go ahead, give your wife a call. This is getting really random now. Hopefully the number matches.
I'm doing really well today.
Wow. Okay, choose another woman. Choose another woman that you can call. Maybe your girlfriend or something like that. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Okay,
Maybe,
how about this? Can I phone my son's girlfriend? I know she'll answer my call.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, hang on 1 second.
So I've changed my prediction just a little bit, but this is getting really random now. Now you're calling the third person. I'm hoping that I get this right.
Again.
It's okay. Let's see. If we don't come right, maybe we could choose somebody else on the call.
All right. How are you doing? Good. I hope I'm not bugging you from studying, but you're on the Larry Soffer show with me.
And tell me, what is her name?
Actually, yes, actually.
Oh, does she know who I am?
Yes, she does know who you are.
Oh, great. Tell her hi, say hi. And what is her name?
Romy.
Romy. So R-O-M-I-E or Y?
No, R-O-M-Y.
Oh, R-O-M-Y. I thought so, because there's two different ways of spelling it. This is very interesting. You'll see why I say in just a moment. So if you can ask Romy to choose any number between 1 and 100.
Right? Any number, choose a number between 1 and 100.
Must I say it?
Must she say it?
Yeah,
Larry?
She can say it out loud.
Yeah, go for it.
3.
Between 1 and 100, she would choose 3.
It's my lucky
Is that
number.
right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's her lucky number. This is so crazy. We chose 3 different people to call. Eventually, we got hold of Romy. There's no way that I could have known that you were going to call Romy. That's how random this is, right? And there's no way that I could have... Yeah, and there's no way that I could have known that her lucky number would have been number 3, right?
Yeah.
But somehow I knew that Romy will say 3.
No ways, right? He's got it written on a board, spelled your name spelled correctly, and it says will say 3. I tried Jamie, I tried Andy, and you were third choice. No ways. No ways.
So crazy, right?
No, that's absolutely crazy. I'm going to have to get the recording of this just to show everybody.
I think that can be arranged for sure. So I thank you very much, Stephen. Everybody give Stephen a huge round of applause. We'll just put that down there for now. And, say again, Stephen?
No, sorry, I was just saying goodbye.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much, Stephen. You were amazing. I think we got Shannon over here, so let's get Shannon up here. So, Shannon, to meet you. You look familiar. Have we met before?
Were you ever on the MSC cruise?
Yes.
For a show? Okay, then yes.
Then it's possible. Were you on the Love Jazz cruise or something like that, or?
That's correct, Jess.
Oh, I thought you looked familiar. Okay, cool. Well, so nice to officially meet you. Do you have your cell phone with you?
I do.
Yes. Okay, cool. If you could go onto your Google Chrome or your Safari, and I want you to type in this full question. You're going to type in, how many words are there on Wikipedia? And maybe we can bring one or two other people up here as well. So if you are a panelist right now, switch on your camera and we'll just bring you up for more camaraderie here on the screen, all right?
Okay. Got it.
Great. And then if you could go onto your, so you've pressed search, right? Did you press search?
I have.
Okay, cool. So once you press search, you should see a website that says WikiCount. Should be the first or second website there. Okay, cool.
That's correct, yeah.
And if you could, great, you can plug into that for us and then just show us on your screen what it says. Just show us here. Ah, excellent. So you can see it says there are approximately 6 million articles in the English Wikipedia. And is that as of today, Shannon?
That is, yes, correct. As of the
today.
19th
Perfect.
of October.
Okay, cool. And that gets updated all the time. So people add articles, they take away articles. They do the same with words because Wikipedia is an open source, so it's open to the public to change it, right? And does it say how many words there are per article?
Yes.
Yeah, you can tell me.
Can I tell you? Okay. 1,765 words per article.
1,000. Wow, that's a lot. So 1,765 times 6 million, and you don't have to work this out. I'll just give a rough estimate here. That's somewhere over 10 billion words on Wikipedia. It's a lot of words, Shannon. And you don't have to work it out. You can work it out later if you want to. But over 10 billion words, not million, but billion. I'm going to read your mind on one of those 10 odd billion words. And that's how insanely impossible this next effect is that I'm about to do. So you ready for this?
Yes.
And you said 1,765, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can, if you want to remember that later, you can, and you can plug it into your calculator and times that by 6 odd million, because that's not even the full figure there, right? It's 6 million something, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Let me just get my marker over here. So I'm going to read your mind on one of those 10 odd billion words, and that's how crazy impossible this next effect is that I'm about to do. So I want you to scroll down for me. Are you able to scroll down and visit Wikipedia? And when you're inside Wikipedia, I want you to go into the little magnifying glass toward the top of your screen and then type in any friend or family member's name, somebody who there's no way that I could ever possibly know. Let me know when you've done that. In fact, why don't you rather delete every single letter, and rather type in a celebrity's name instead. That way you know you'll definitely get an article. So it could be like an actor, actress, sports star, musician, totally up to you. And you type in the full name. So if you typed in Jennifer, you'd say Jennifer Lopez or Jennifer Aniston. Don't think of them now that I've said that, unless it's somebody like Adele, for instance, or Beyonce, right? And once you've typed in your celebrity's name and press search, you can let me know. You should get like a picture of the person. Yeah? And once you've got a picture of the person, you should see a description down below. I want you to ignore that description. Okay, don't think of anything inside the description, because Shannon, that may give away who your celebrity is, and I don't want you to do that, all right? I'm going to try and receive the celebrity's name from your mind in just a moment. So I want you to scroll past the description. So there's no way I could know who your celebrity is, and scroll into the body of the article and choose a nice long word, a word with 7 letters or more, so you know that if I get this right, this will be super impressive, right?
Okay.
Have you got something?
Not yet.
Some words will stand out at you and you can just pick out one, any word with 7 letters or more. So it's nice and long, and you know if I get this right, this will be insane, right? You got something?
Yes.
Great, you can put your phone face down for me on the table. So there's no way that I could ever see anything across the screen right now. Would you all agree, and you can show me a thumbs up if you agree, that there's no way that I could ever know what Shannon's word is, right? Yes? And Magda and Sean, you can keep yourself unmuted while you're here, because that way we can hear you and we can all interact together here. So there's no way I could know what your word is. Shannon, you didn't even touch the word and show anybody else in your apartment, right?
No.
You just thought of the word in your mind.
Yes.
So if I could get this word from your mind right now, this would be insane, yes?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. So just look at me. I want you to raise your right hand like this for me, please. And Shannon, tell me when you feel like a tingling, fuzzy sensation over here, because that means that we have an energetic connection.
Yes.
Right there, you feel something? Yes? You do?
Yes.
That's the connection that we have right now, Shannon. I want you to think of the first letter of your word. Never say anything out loud. Just in your mind, repeat that first letter over and over, like R, R. Is it an R?
R. Yes.
Can you spell out your word letter by letter in your mind, never out loud? Start now. Stop, that was a C, the third letter down.
Yes.
Excellent. From the letter C, keep spelling now. Stop, Shannon, that was an M for Mary that you just looked at?
Yes. No way.
And Shannon, in your mind, you freaked out, and we could see that happening. And what happened was, you thought, somehow I know what your word is, right?
Yes.
I don't know what your word is. I know I got that thought from your mind. I don't know what your word is just yet. But when you had that thought, you skipped all the way to the end of the word, and you looked at the letter D.
Yes.
Shannon, I have no idea what your word is. You can relax your hand for me and just spell it out from beginning to end, just in your mind, never out loud. Start again now.
R-E?
No, just in your mind.
Oh,
just in your mind.
okay, okay.
Otherwise, sorry to stop you like that.
Sorry, got it in my mind.
So abruptly. It's okay. Otherwise, that's just communication. No mind reading there, right? Okay, good. So here we go, Shannon. Start again now. Excellent. Good, good. I'm definitely getting this. Okay, I just fit it in. Shannon, if I have your word, one of 10 odd billion words on Wikipedia, this would be insane, yes?
Yeah.
So Shannon, and you didn't even give away much. You just gave away the second letter, which was E, right? I already had the third letter, which was C. Shannon, for the first time, tell everybody, what is the word that you're merely thinking of?
Recommended. Oh my word.
Yes. So crazy,
No way.
right?
What?
Now, Shannon, before this is crazy, right? Now, before you thought of recommended, you thought of a celebrity, yes?
I did.
It's a female?
Correct.
I'm getting somebody that's from Hollywood, yes? Yeah?
Not originally.
Not originally. And I immediately got that. I got it originally from South Africa.
Yes.
Charlize Theron?
Yes.
Yes. And what's even crazier is before you thought of Charlize, you thought of a family member, yes?
I did.
But you didn't even search for this family member.
No.
You searched for Charlize Theron instead.
Yes.
I don't even think you got to really type in the family member's name completely, right?
I was getting to the last letter, yes.
But you didn't
But I
even
didn't
get to
type
complete
it all.
the name.
No.
Yeah. And you didn't search at all. You searched for Charlize Theron. Just look at me. If I could get this family member's name from your mind right now, this would be out of this world, yes?
Absolutely.
Here we go. It's a male?
Correct.
It's not a love relationship, is it?
It is.
Yeah? Is it your husband?
Yes.
Yes. But you haven't been married for a long time, right?
I don't know what you would say is long.
Like somewhere between 5 and 10 years, something like that?
Longer.
Longer, okay. Just look at me. Okay, I'm getting somebody who's like a lot of, like he's a ball of fun. He's the type of guy that really moves around from group to group at a particular, or any particular party. He loves to mingle with people. He loves to chat. Really loves to laugh a lot and to have fun. But he's also got a very quiet side to him, which is quite interesting. And he loves to have his space every now and then where he just kind of sits by himself, reads a book, and just wants his own space, yes?
Yes, that's correct.
I want you to imagine him over here in your mind. Never say anything out loud. Just in your mind, you're going to say hello, and you're going to say his name as if you see him right here. Never move your lips. I don't want anybody to think that I'm good at lip reading here. So you ready?
Mm-hmm.
You'd say hello. Byron?
Yes. That's his name. Magda's smiling because she knows that's his name.
Thank you very much. Everybody, Shannon, you were amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So you guys have been absolutely fantastic. We're going to try something here with everybody right now. So I want everybody to get on the call right now, and I want you all to bring out your cards. Does everybody have their cards?
Yes.
If you don't have your cards, that's okay. If you do not have your cards and you want to partake in this right now, grab an A4 piece of paper. So if I could show you here. So you grab like a A4 piece of paper. Let me just grab this like this. So everybody grab an A4 piece of paper. And you'd fold it in half like that. And if you don't have a scissor, this is what you would do. If you have a scissor, just cut it in half, all right? If you don't have a scissor, you just fold it in half and tear it in half like that. And then you'd put the two pieces together, and then you'd fold it in half again. Fold those two pieces in half, back and front. Once again, if you have a scissor, you can just cut these in half. But if you don't, then you just do this, and it's nice and simple. And then you've got 4 pieces of paper, all right? 4 separate pieces of paper. And then you're going to make little drawings on them, like a heart, a square, a diamond, and I don't know, smiley face, whatever you like. Or you can put 4 big numbers on them. Write numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, nice and big right across them. All right, now if you want to be on the screen right now, please raise your hand and we'll bring you up onto the screen. Or if you are here as a panelist already, you can switch on your camera and we'll bring you onto the screen as well, just so we can have a lot of participation in this. All right, so we'll get Shannon back and Magda, and we'll get Mac back, and we'll get Stephen. And everybody show me your cards right now. Everybody show me your cards.
You want to see the pictures as well, or just the fact that we've got cards?
We don't have to see the pictures if you don't want to show us, but just show me your cards. If you want to show me your pictures, you can, yes? Okay, great, excellent. That's fantastic. I love it. I love it. And we've got a nice amount of people here on the screen. Once again, if you want to join in on the screen, put up your hand. We'll bring you onto the screen, and it's going to be a lot of fun, all right? So I see we've got Stephen that raised his hand there. Yeah, we'll bring Stephen up onto the screen now as well, too, all right? So I want you to take your cards, and I want you to give them a good shuffle. So just mix them up like this. Make sure that they're all mixed nicely. Give them a good mix. All right, you all happy with your mix? Great. And if you're on the screen right now, please unmute yourself. That way I can all hear you in just a moment, because we're all going to interact here together, all right? So keep mixing, and make sure that all the pictures are facing the floor. Make sure all the pictures are facing the floor. And this is called the love ritual. And the reason why we're doing all this shuffling is because, like love, this can be very confusing. I see Stephen likes that one. All right, good. So everybody take the cards and hold the 2 short ends in your hands like this.
Starting of the two brothers that were...
Okay, good. And if you have any radio in the background or any video playing there, please. Yes, okay, good. I must have played automatically there.
My phone again, Stephen, yes.
So make sure that all the pictures are facing the floor. Make sure that all the pictures are facing the floor. And then I want you to take the cards in the center and tear them in half. So once again, if you're on the screen right now, if you see yourself or not, I want you to partake with us. So everybody tear your cards in half. And once you've torn them in half, I want you to place one half on top of the other. Either half goes on top of the other half. Totally up to you. And give me a thumbs up when you've all done that. Very good. Then everybody take 3 cards off the top. That's 1, 2, 3 cards off the top. Very good. And take those 3 cards that you've just taken off the top and place them somewhere into the middle. Not at the top, not at the bottom, somewhere in the middle. And give me a thumbs up when you've done that. Excellent. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot, but this is a great point to do this. Everybody take the top card and place it into your pocket, or actually sit on it. You can put it underneath your right cheek or your left cheek, just not somebody else's cheek. Very good. Now, let's see. Mac, name a number. 1, 2, or 3?
2.
2. So everybody take 2 cards off the top. That's 1, 2 off the top, and place it somewhere into the middle. Take 2 cards off the top and place it somewhere into the middle. And give me a thumbs up when you've all done that. Excellent. Now you can get to make your own decision here. You can either decide to do absolutely nothing at this point. So you can either do nothing, or you can take 1, 2, or 3 cards off the top. So either 1, 2, or 3 cards off the top and place them somewhere into the middle. So either do nothing or take 1, 2, or 3 and place them into the middle, and give me a thumbs up when you're done. Very good. We have everybody, and Mac is done. And Sean, are you done there?
Yep.
Excellent. So this is where we play the love game. This is a little game that we played when we were in school, and we played it with little daisies. I don't know if you remember it, but it's where you pick off the daisy petals and you say, she loves me not. So we're all going to play this right now. So everybody take the top card, and place it to the bottom and say, she loves me.
She loves me.
He loves me.
Great. Or he loves me, whatever your preference is. Yes? For the ladies, obviously, he loves me. Yes? Okay, great. Take the next one off the top and throw it away and say, she loves me not.
She loves me not.
Good. Take the next one off the top and place it to the bottom and say, she loves me.
She loves me.
Nice. Take the next one off the top and throw it away and say, she loves me not.
She loves me not.
Good. Take the next one off the top and place it to the bottom, and this time with passion. Say, she loves me.
She loves me.
She
loves me.
Great. Take the next one and throw it away, and with vigor, say, she loves me not.
She loves me not.
Nice. Take the next one off the top and place it to the bottom, and with passion, say, she loves me.
She loves me.
Okay, good. Take the next one off the top and throw it away, and with anger, say, she loves me not.
She loves me not.
Great. The next one to the bottom, the next one off the top to the bottom, she loves me.
She loves me.
Love me.
Loves me.
Good. The next one off the top, throw it away, she loves me not.
She loves me not.
Take the next one off the top and place it to the bottom and say, she loves me.
She loves me.
Loves me.
And take the next one and throw it away and say, she loves me not.
She loves me not.
Excellent. You guys have done such a great job. I want you to show us the last card that you're sitting with. So not sitting on, but just within your hand. And just show me the one in your hand. Excellent. And this is where the impossible happens in your own home. I don't know if you felt that, but something strange should have happened to that card that you're sitting on. Everybody bring it out and show everybody that it actually matches 100%.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you very much. You guys are amazing. Give yourselves a huge
Nicely
round
done.
of applause.
Oh, nicely. Yeah, very
Thank you so
good.
much.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well done, Mr.
Thanks,
Sofa.
guys. Thank you. Now, you've been so wonderful. We're going to keep you all here just for a little bit because I want you all to think of something right now in just a moment. I'll tell you what we're going to think of in just a moment. And we're going to choose 3 of you at random. I don't know if there's anybody else on the call that we can bring up onto the screen right now, but if there is, then we can do that right now. Otherwise, we'll choose 3 people from the people here on the stage. So I'm going to show you this video that I took just a couple of weeks ago, especially for you guys. So you can see this is my photos gallery. And in the center of the photos gallery, there's that video that I told you about where I took a video of myself on the beach. I'm not going to play the audio for you right now because you're going to hear what I'm about to say in just a moment. But I wrote a special message in the sand for 3 particular people that are going to be chosen at random, and I'm hoping that we choose the exact right people here today because you're going to be chosen at random right now. So let's see if this works, all right? So the reason why I took this video on the beach is because I believe that the beach represents freedom, hope, and happiness to all of us because it's the one thing that was taken away from all of us all over the world during this very difficult time that we've experienced. So for that reason, I want everybody to think of one word that is associated with or resembles either freedom or hope, or happiness. And when you got that word in your mind, raise your hand. And if there's anybody else in the chat that has a word that would like to be brought up onto the screen, you can raise your hand and we'll bring you up. Okay, cool. And Sean, do you have your word?
I'm thinking about it.
You're still thinking about it. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, because there's not many words.
Say that again?
There's not many words that, you know.
10 billion in Wikipedia.
Right, yeah, I got one.
Okay, you got one. Okay, great. Any word that resembles either freedom, hope, or happiness. It can be an object, an activity, a person. It can be just an idea. It could be an inspirational idea. Everybody's got a word right now. That's great. And we're going to choose 3 people randomly from you guys. And Sean, seeing that you actually introduced me, I'm going to get you to choose those 3 people at random right now. In fact, you know, Sean, you didn't even know that you were going to be chosen right now, right?
No.
Okay, cool. So we're going to use you for this as well, all right? So we'll use you, Sean, and then you can choose 2 other people at random.
Let's do Bruce and Sean Sipman. So we've got 2 Seans.
Okay, cool. So we got Bruce and we got Sean Sipman. Fantastic. So we're going to send the rest of you back out into the audience. Thank you very much for helping. Now, I showed you that video just a moment ago. I'm going to reveal to you what I wrote in the sand, but there was a special message that I wrote in the sand, and I believe it was specifically for the 3 of you. So let's see if this works. All right. So, Sean Juba, what is your word?
Home.
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 Home. Okay, good. And Sean Sipman, what is your word?
Safety.
Safety. I love it. And Bruce, what is your word?
Parachute.
Parachute. Yes? Like that, yes?
Correct.
So you guys chose these particular words. Let me just put my marker over here. You chose, put marker away. You chose these particular words. You could have chosen absolutely anything. Home, safety, and parachute. You could have chosen absolutely anything. Did you change your minds along the way?
No, I
Not
just
at all.
struggled to find a word.
Okay, so Sean, you went with safety immediately, right? But you can see that all 3 of your words were completely different, one to the other. Home, safety, and parachute. And if you're on the call right now and your word was different to these words, just give us a thumbs up, maybe as an emoji in the chat box, or if you're on the screen right now, you can give us a thumbs up if your word was different to home, safety, or parachute. Okay, it looks like everybody chose the same words. I don't think that that's the case. Okay, so Stephen's raising his hand over there. Stephen's raising his hand. He's showing that he chose a different word, and I'm sure everybody else on the call chose a completely different word.
Yeah.
You guys chose these words. You didn't even know that you were going to think of these words up until now, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. And tell me very quickly, Sean, what does your word mean to you? Freedom, hope, or happiness?
Which Sean?
Which Sean?
Oh, sorry, Sean Juba. Home. What does home mean to you? Freedom, home. Oh, sorry, freedom, hope, or happiness?
Happiness.
Happiness. And Bruce, what does your word parachute mean to you?
Freedom and happiness.
Great. And Sean Sipman, safety. What does that mean to you?
All three.
All three, freedom, hope, and happiness. So you guys chose these words at random. You just thought of them in this moment right now. There's no way that I could have known that you were going to choose these words, and you didn't even know that you were going to be chosen here today, right?
Correct, yeah.
But this video in the center that's been sitting here the entire time has been made. I created it weeks ago, before this event even began, and I wrote a special message in the sand for the three of you. This is so crazy. Check this out. Hi everyone. I'm here at the beach in my home city, Cape Town. I hope I've managed to uplift and inspire you, and that you enjoyed the connected experience that we all shared. I've decided to write a message in the sand weeks before meeting because I had the urge to share one last crazy moment with all of you, way before we even met. Have a look at what I've been up to.
Oh, freaking ways. No ways.
Unbelievable, right? Let me show that to you again. Let me show it to you one more time. Look at that. It says parachute, home, and safety, and a little heart in the sand there for you guys. Thank you very much. I'm Larry Soffer.
Wow.
It's been a pleasure being here with all of you. Thank you. And remember that freedom, hope, and happiness, those ideas and those emotions, they exist within you. So they can never be taken away from you. So may you, with those ideas and those emotions, make the rest of 2021 your best year yet. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was fantastic. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, Larry. Wow, that was
Thanks,
fantastic.
guys. My great pleasure. My great pleasure. Thank you.
But
wow.
I'm looking forward to next week.
Thanks everybody for joining. So we're done for the day. If you want to see more, please RSVP for next week's session. It will be a different topic from Johan. So we'll be covering SUSE Manager. But straight after, Larry will be entertaining us again, doing a different show with different techniques and things that he's going to be doing. So please join us. But thank you very much for joining us. It was a fantastic day. If you've got any questions, please reach out to myself and Johan. Stephen is on the call as well. So yeah, have a fantastic afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.